That really stood out to me was the words that you would put together. And I know you've been doing this for a long time, but did you use a dictionary at any point? Like, what was your skills? Like, how did you figure out how to put these words together and to make the message come across? Because I think if you listen to it and if you read it, you will see visuals. You don't really have to work too hard to understand the book, which is incredible.
Awesome, because I think what made it easier for me, it's like we live in a society where everybody is basically an author at this point in time. How do I stand out, right? How am I going to make people understand that this is my truth? This is who I am, and not blending because I don't fit well in a box. That's just so not me. I like to do whatever the hell I want to do at any given point in time. So Google was my best friend. What I did for a lot of the words, I would, especially when we talk about the anatomy and your body parts, because I had to be mindful because, of course, of my daytime job as well. I had to take that into consideration. So to water certain things down, I just Googled and decided, okay, fine, replace certain words if I needed to. But for the most part, because this was something that I felt, it was an experience, it was natural, it was me, this is what I felt, it was easier. Because this is not a book that I'm just writing, just because I really wanted to write a book. This was my experience.
And I want to ask you, what are 3 of your favorite poems? Or if you want, you can pick a line because your lines are very powerful as well. But either one. And I just want to know 3 and why they really stand out to you.
So, do you mind if I go to my book?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because that's another thing as well. I have been so intimidated all this time because throughout this process, my memory was not the same. I'm not the same woman I used to be. And I'm getting a bit emotional thinking about it, but that's okay. And I'm not able to really memorize my poems. And for an extended period of time, that bothered me because especially like when I went to open mics and I saw people, they just get up there and they just say it. And I was like, oh my God, I can't even do that. It's such a struggle for me. But again, because I've arrived at a place where I understand who I am and I'm so in love with who I am, it doesn't even really matter to me. So I'll pull out my book and I'll probably share a word or two.
Yes. Thank you. I look forward to this moment because I know that to sit down, come up with the concepts, to come up with the words, it's not easy. But it's also something you love. And it has a lot of meaning to you. So that's exciting.
Absolutely. So Rendezvous is one of my favorite pieces. I'll read the first 3 lines, if you don't mind. It says, perspiration dripped from my body, forming rivulets on the sheets. My body he caressed with tender, soft touches. Fingers and tongue worked simultaneously.
So with lines like that, did you ever read any books similar to that? How do you come up with stuff like that? Or is it literally just that moment because you felt it?
Exactly. So, like again, I said, it's really what I felt. I'm going to try to paint a picture, right? So, I'm in my neck brace. My mom administers my medication. She turns the lights off. I'm in my dark red room. I'm laying on bed, and the need for companionship is so overwhelming, and that pain that I'm feeling is so excruciating. I literally had to travel to my perfect world, and that's my imagination. That's Fantasyland. So it was so easy because it's like in that moment when I'm exploring my body and trying to understand who I am, the words just came. It was that simple.
And I really want to get into the fact of not a lot of people can express themselves in this way.
Okay.
Because they're scared. They don't know what people are going to say. And I love the fact that you mentioned how you had to become one with yourself, figure yourself out and what you want. How did you deal with criticism or negativity? Or was there anybody in your life that was like, oh, I don't understand why you're putting out a book with so many details?
I will disguise names and not really get into it. But yes, I had a lot of that. But then again, it goes back to me recognizing my power. This is my truth. You can't tell me how to feel and how to act because this is me. I am liberated. So guess what? To hell with what anyone wanted to think or feel, because this is me. At nights when I was alone and in that pain, who was there with me? Why should you have the power now to then tell me what to think or what to say? And again, it's really about coming into terms with your identity and recognizing who you are. And once you find that power, that self-love, and you're pouring into yourself, it's like a vessel. You're pouring, so it's just like overflowing with love and prosperity.
And do you really think, like, with you starting something on your own, writing poems, putting it together as one, do you think that that was always your calling? Because it sounds like maybe from the beginning you were always supposed to write a book, and almost like life put it in your hands, like, here's your magic, do magic.
Absolutely. I think somewhere, I think it's one of my posts on Instagram, I said, God has been talking to me, but I've not been listening. And I still think I'm not listening the way I should be. And sometimes the universe have a way of connecting us without us even recognizing it. I have been writing ever since I was probably like 12 years old. I've always escaped, and I've just been writing because that's just how I know how to really cope. And I think writing is it's safe. Because I could write something and I could rip it up after. You don't have to see it. You don't know what's going on. So I think it's my safe zone and it's my comfort zone. So I could say and do whatever because it's my art, it's my work. And with that being said, you're right. I've always wanted to write a book, and there's my real book, As Gone to My Mom. My real book is actually coming out next year as well. It's entitled Humbled. And that's where we're going to have like so-called the meats and potatoes. It's really a book of empowerment as well. I'm not going to give too much, but I also had a near-death experience in 1996. So I have a journey. So this, and in comparison, because that's something I also did, in comparison to my near-death experience in 1996 and how I had to recover, this is it superseded it. I did not in my wildest imagination would I expect this journey to continue, because it doesn't end. It's always going to be there. So that's the big difference.
Right. And I find that to be very important, the fact that you already have another book that you're working on, another project, so people have something to look forward to. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
5 years from now. So I also started my own publishing company because I know this is my plan. It's called, oh my God, it's Bold Flamingo, something like that. I don't even remember right now. I have so much emotions.
But that you do in the future, and I really hope that motivational speaking is part of it. Okay, yes, because I look forward to everything you have to say. I feel like you dropped a lot of gems, and I really wanted to ask you, is there anything specific you want people to take away from that book? Like, after they finish reading your poems, what is one thing, if you can sum it up in one sentence, that you hope they think or you hope they understand?
Coming into terms with self-discovery, self-awareness, and understanding who you are as an individual. I think that's the basic need. It's universal. If you understand who you are as an individual and you're walking in your purpose, you're walking in your truth, no one can tell you anything otherwise. It's so important that you really ask me that, because it's like so much I have on my mind, especially with this whole journey, and recognizing that people are not always who they seem to be. So it's really up to you for you to decide what works for you. And I believe every single person that comes into our life, they come into our life for a reason. But it's totally up to you to decide what role you want to assign this individual. I have gotten to the point where I no longer look at something that we may say that's bad or it shouldn't have happened to me. Everything that happened to me in my life, I am so thankful, because it's a learning lesson. It's a lesson to be learned. But because we're so caught up, we don't have the time to stop and think and smell the roses and be thankful. And with that, I'm clear. Trust the process.
I love that. And when does your book come out, and what is the spelling, and where can they find it?
Okay. So Bold Her Liberation, it will be released on August 31st. Currently, it's going to be international. It's going to be international. It's on all digital platforms as well. The hard copy will be available on August 31st. However, if you decide you wanted to order a copy from now, that's perfectly fine. I can be found at @Marie Dunn, Marie Dunn, or Be Bold Toya. Be Bold Toya.
Okay. And I just want to ask, Dunn, Dunn?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, awesome. Thank you so much. And
I forgot to tell. So because I know we live in an era where people that not everyone read, I also selected 12 of my favorite poems and I added music to it. So I have my audio book that will be coming out in 3 weeks, and it will be on all major platforms as well.
oh my God, that's incredible.